Unboxing video for Kingdom Rush Rift in Time. This is a brand new game for 1 to 4 players, lasts around 45 to 90 minutes, age is 10 and up, and the complexity is fairly simple, it's 2 out of 5. That doesn't mean that it doesn't create a lot of challenge and difficulty, it's just that the rules are not difficult for us to absorb. This is a game from Lucky Duck Games. It looks gorgeous, it comes in this huge, enormous, big box full of cards, tokens, components, materials, miniatures, you name it, it has everything. It falls under the category of adventure, fantasy, fighting. It's about medieval age, miniatures, and of course it's inspired and has a lot of influence from the video game itself. It's a tower defense game, which we love. Those type of games, they are great, both on a video scale but also on in tabletop. So this is a game that has a lot of building of towers, trying to defend your kingdom. There is a time mage that actually is trying to create havoc and destroy everything in the path. Us and our friends are trying to cooperatively work together in order to build towers and trying to fend off the waves of different enemies coming towards our gates. What we need to do is we need to defend the kingdom, and we're going to be using different mechanisms to do that. The game is co-op, it has hand management, so we're playing different tower cards from our hand to defend the different enemies that they're approaching. There is a modular board, there is pattern building, a lot of tile placement, because basically the players, by playing cards from their hand, they're attacking with their towers and with their heroes, and essentially they're placing polyomino pieces on the cards of the enemies, that they have a very cool aspect of moving onto paths with trays and trying to cover all the different enemies so that they defeat their respective card or horde accordingly. This game has various variable player powers depending on the hero you select, has cool minis, has lots of goodies, so let's dive into the box and see what's inside. The box is a linen finish, it's a good quality card box. It's very big. Just to give you an idea, maybe you can compare it with my hand. This is a tremendously deep box. It has this grid here to protect everything, because you're going to need it once you unpunch everything from the board. So let's see what we have inside. This is a game that it's really shining with the co-op mode, of course, and it has a lot of added value points for solo gaming, because it plays great as a solo as well. Okay, so you have stickers. These are stickers that I believe you can be placing on the various spots on the included map tile in order to indicate what you have progressed, your progression. I think this is the map of the whole kingdom. Once you decide to play as a campaign, you can put stickers like emulating the video game, so that's a cool idea, starting from the beginning and then moving through the campaign. Of course you can, this is just for aesthetic purposes or remembering where you are, but it's a cool idea and we like when companies do that. This is a stickers guide to mark your progress on the kingdom map. Use attached stickers, difficulty, heroic challenges and iron challenge, so you can also modify the challenge in this game. That's great. We have 2 booklets, one for the rules and one for the introduction and the scenarios. You can play again and again the various scenarios of the game. Lots of punch boards, and there is this huge plastic insert with a cover ready to store everything in there. So let's see what we have. There are lots of different things. First of all, we have the boards that are coming together, and they're double-sided to make up the different boards where we're going to make different paths based on the scenario. Keep in mind that this is a thick cardboard, double illustrated, with lots of nice art and linen finish as well. That means quite durable, I would say. You put it together, and by putting it together then you create the different maps based on the, of course, scenario, instructions. There are more double-sided tiles that you can selectively put in one or the other slot. according to the map construction of the different scenarios. I'm just putting something randomly now, and enlarge this way the map. You will be creating paths and different ways for the heroes to navigate from their entry points, but they're going to be dictated by the map and the scenario book in order to build up the map and play the specific scenario. Again, I like the fact that these are really thick and durable boards with nice art. So the combinations and the different ways to put them together give a lot of variability to the game. Of course, you can also try to do your own scenarios. I think I'm not sure if there is something online already. Usually with those type of games, there's a community and they build their own scenarios. But you can see the main idea is that you're building paths with the scenarios in order for the enemies to move onto. So lots and lots of tiles. And on those tiles we'll have the different trays of the game carrying the enemies, which will be on cards. And this is a very cool idea because it's a plastic tray to take the card, and you will be moving according to the path that you create towards the gate of the kingdom, and the players will be building on those spots various towers and trying to defend accordingly the invasion from the enemies. So I've built a very simple map that doesn't make a lot of sense, but anyway, just to show you the combinations that can be many to begin with. That's cool. So let's use that instead. There are a lot of different combinations, a lot of different scenarios already included, but you get the idea. This provides lots and lots of possible combinations overall. Right, now, I even didn't place this one. Let's first of all, let's dive into the rulebook and see what's the rulebook all about. I had the opportunity to read the rulebook online, and I found it very easy to get behind and understand. We have first of all the components of the game, then we have the introduction and the game setup, then we have the anatomy of the tower cards. They're shooting different polyomino tiles in order to cover different enemies. We have different attack types like physical, magical and true damage, which does both. Then we have the anatomy of the board. Players also control different heroes, which can go onto the different trays and do damage themselves, trying to defeat the hordes coming in. And here also you can find details about the solo game and an appendix at the end with all the different rules and the abilities of the heroes categorized for easy reach. Then what we have is the scenario booklet. Here you can play again each scenario you want. This is some general setup, so you make some piles with a different type of cards and you can upgrade towers to the next level. We'll see how this works. We're going to make a full how to play video about the game, so stay tuned. Here's the first scenario, Rift in Time, the map setup and the different setup depending on the amount of players. So you can have different setup for 1 player, for 2, for 3 or for 4. This is the second scenario from past and future. Essentially the idea is that there's a time mage that they're trying to create a rift into the timeline, so they're trying to bring hordes of enemies and destroy the kingdom, and we're trying to defend it overall. Scenario 3, the time wrapped angel. 4, with might and magic. Sounds like a video game. Rain of arrows. Should be a lot of ranged attacks here. A ghastly surprise. Number 7, Lord of Blackburn returns. Number 8, they came with axes. Fly my creatures fly. And number 10, the time of the end. And of course here you see the different setup. This is a big board, but the idea, as you understand, is you have these entry points from where the enemies enter, and then they're starting making their you know, their path towards our door of our kingdom, the door of our kingdom, and whatever enemies they get into, if you haven't managed to cover all their tiles and all the spots with different polyomino tiles from our attacks, then they're going to inflict damage, and we can stand a specific amount of damage according to the scenario. The rule book, the scenario booklet looks very, very interesting, has a lot of replayability, and you can also play the different scenarios with different amount of difficulty, different difficulty that is, so that should be very, very interesting. Now, moving in here, I think they are 5 heroes. Each hero has their own thick linen finish board that you can see here. 2 slots for special ability cards, the incoming towers, because you can, instead of playing a card tower from your hand, you can pass it to the next player so they can get it upgrade and place it on their own improved status. Here you put your card hero, and again, this is good quality. I really like what they have done here, and I like the fact that it folds extremely well. Different special ability for each of those, regardless of the special abilities 1 and 2 that you can get. This is Magnus, Malik, and then you have Lilith, and the 5th hero is Aleria. So, nice player boards for the heroes. We have lots and lots of cards, small meeples that they can act as single hit soldiers. These are nice funky custom soldiers, meeple soldiers, I like them, look great. Then we have the minis for our heroes. Just to show you briefly, we're going to make a 3D spinning video for those so that you can see them up close, but they look really, really nice. They all have a 2x2 footprint, and they're nice and sturdy, good size minis. They look great, nice detail, and I think they fit the theme of the game extremely well. Nice arrow and bow, looks great. Extremely this is a pet, extremely nicely done minis. And here we have some big bosses. Ooh, that's a big guy. He can really make a huge impact. I think this is the big boss of the core game. What you see here is a core game, no extras from Kickstarter stretch goals, so it's whatever you get in the retail version. Nice mini, nice and chunky. And these 2 bad guys also, they come into interlocking bases, so they can actually create more damage when they are together. So this looks very, very nice. The minis are great. The insert is very nice because you can fit everything. So let's see now the cards of the game. Essentially we have the hero cards. You know, when you get your hero, you need to place your hero card here, and you can play your hero card from your hand. That's nice. 1 card for each hero. Nice art, I like the art. I think I haven't played the video game, but I think it draws a lot from the video game. That's what I've heard at least, so that's cool. Then what we have is additional different cards to cover some spots, maybe, I suppose. And 1 card for each of the heroes, a big card with actually these are reference cards. You have the turn sequence, spawning heroes, play tower and hero cards, destroy horde trays, and then activate time mages, advance horde trays, pick up tower cards and spend crystals. Lord Blackburn. And then we have some helper cards here as well. This is a big enemy, this is an enemy that allows the tile to move twice. So these are really handy because it summarizes all the different abilities that you need to remember. Cool. Let's move to the cards themselves. Another interesting cool thing about the game is, depending on the scenario setup and the number of players, as you have seen, you have the ability to place with these overlays. Let me show you how they look like. These are plastic overlays, so for the red player you would be placing in specific zones, meaning, for example, based on the scenario, you will have around the map, and depending on the number of players, locations for different players to place their cards when they build their towers. So that's very nice. Now, that's a cool idea. It's transparent, so it looks very nice up close, and it doesn't block the art. You can see a bit of glare, but that's due to the light coming from that direction. Up close, it's no glare at all, so it's nicely done. They've done good work here with these cards. So the green player will get that one, etc. So all these are positioned according to the scenario setup. And then we have lots of different enemies. You see, huge deck. This is the driving force of the main mechanism of the game, because we're placing tiles, trying to cover all the enemies depicted on an enemy card and defeat it, and this way defeat it. So for example, you see you have different types of enemies with different patterns. You need to cover all of them. So let's see a simple case. So this would be inserted in a tray, and they would start from their spawn zone, and they would move forward each time they're moving close towards my base. So what I need to do is I need to use my towers to build different towers. So all these are enemies. Ooh, it's a lot of enemies. To play cards from my hand, build towers, and thus when the towers activate, they will attack and place polyomino tiles on those trays so that they would cover it. We'll explain the game in detail, but just to briefly show you how this is done. These are the small cards with the towers. So let me show you an example. The idea behind the game is great. I really like tower defense, and I really like the way they're emulating this. So you see, for example, if I play an archer card, let's say I have the spot here, and I'm allowed to play a card here because I'm the orange player. When I place a card here, I still can see that I'm the orange player with the border, and then this player, for example, maybe I can show it better here. This tile here would inflict a damage of 1 by 2, because it's throwing either here, either there, or to the right, one tile like that. So for example, when they pass from here, I would be able to throw one tile like that on them and cover some of them. The idea is I need to cover all of them, because ideally when I do cover all of them with various attacks, having different types of strikes from different towers and different heroes, I can even use, for example, one of my heroes to cover some of the tiles when I'm stepping on the tray itself, and this moves all together very nicely. When all these are covered, what I would be doing is I would be defeating it, and all the enemy cards have some crystals that I can use after I destroy them in order to upgrade and buy more towers at the end of each round. So you see that there are lots of different type of strikes, and there are different tiles depending on the hero. They have their own hero tiles. The towers, depending on the tower type, have their own polyomino tiles that they do specific damage and cover specific surface area. Some towers allow you to rotate, not only to throw, like the archers here. This one, the marksman, allows you to rotate. So in this case, so many material here, so much material, really. In this case, I would be throwing those L-shaped icons, and I can also rotate because I have the rotate icon. That means that, for example, if I was sitting here, then this I would be able to rotate it if I had this tower here, for example. And the idea, you get the idea, is you're trying to cover all of the tiles. So Marksman, which is an upgrade, Mage, which spend throw magical tiles, but they are affecting only heroes that they take magical damage. The Bombard, Howitzer, Militia, Footman, Knights. You see, Knights really provide those type of soldiers that they can go wherever you have gaps and holes, so it's very, very flexible. You have Ranged Hideout, Arcane Wizard, Big Bertha, Holy Order, etc. Lots and lots of different cards. You will be playing those cards or upgrading them in order from your hand to try to cover all those different enemies that they will be approaching, and it will be more than one each time moving forward towards your base. That's why you see we have so much going on in this game, so many tiles and so many different enemies. You can also see the different type of enemies. You have footmen, big guys that they do a lot of damage even if one space is uncovered. Those guys that would allow the tray to move twice if it's one of those is still uncovered, and so many different things that create lots and lots of variability to the game. Also, progressing the scenarios are more difficult. These are portals. When you damage a portal, then your card is destroyed, so that's interesting as well. Your heroes are affecting. You can have ghosts and different type of enemies. You see the variability here is amazing. So much going on here, and on top of that you can see that different type of towers can throw different shapes and different type of attacks. That's really, really useful. So it's all about combining them, and on top of that each hero has a special slot, 2 special slots for the different abilities. You see, Infernal Wheel, Reaper Harvester, and these are tiles. These are linen finish thick tiles which have the explanation also at the back if you need to have them like that, and they're placed here to provide more flexibility to each of your heroes. So lots and lots of so this is our base. We can have 1 or 2 that we're trying to protect, so this will be at the end of the path, and the trace will be moving forward. I'm just you know, throwing material here because you can see there's so many things going on in this game. This is extremely full box. More tiles for the maps, some gems. These are all thick linen finish tiles. These are spawn tokens. You can have numerous spawn tokens for enemies from around your map, and you have different gems and more tiles. There's a lot of material in this game, and this is a tremendously a tremendous great game in terms of solo playing. And this also is the last tray. So my screen is full. I believe you understand the amount of content you're getting, both in gameplay and in terms of material and components, and I'm really looking forward to give this a try, throw it on the table. I've loved what I've read so far from the rulebook. Looks great, looks amazing. Everything in the production is awesome. Components are really great. I mean, up close you can see the thickness and the linen finish of the cards and everything of the tiles, and everything looks tremendously well done. So there you have it. This is one of the most anticipated games in my library. I'm really happy that I received this one. This is Kingdom Rush Rift in Time, and will be coming soon with a detailed how to play video and a mini review after I had a couple of sessions. Many thanks for watching.